company. We'll do about $30 million in sales this year. We have 25 employees domestically and 10 between China and Taiwan.
In 1998, you came out with a new shoe that you were going to sell on the basis of performance. Why would a consumer buy Dada as opposed to a name brand?
We started in the apparel industry, so we were shipping apparel to the Foot Locker, Foot Action, and Finish Line, Hibbets, which are like the core customers as far as our athletic brand's concerned. So we were out there and the name was hot anyway. So we're like, you know what, we need a shoe, because we were having to hook our apparel up with Nike and other brands, because, you know, people like to buy the hookup. They like to buy the hat, the shirt, and the shoes to match. We're like, you know what, let's make our own shoes. So we decided it was time for us to make our own shoes so we can decide some color trends on our own. So we decided to do a shoe, and we knew that the brand was hot, and if we came up with a good product that performed, that people would buy our product as well.
You actually began this business with a partner. Tell us about that relationship.
Lance is incredible. He's a designer, he's a creative force here. He does all our in-house. People say, oh, do you an ad agency, your ads are so great. I'm like, no, Lance did that. So he does all the creative, and I met him when I was doing another apparel line, and I was actually looking for a graphic artist to do some artwork for me, and I ran into him, and it was perfect.
Give us a sense of the process from concept to design to actually seeing the shoe in a shoe store.
Okay, you look at the trend, and so you're like, okay, what's happening now? I mean, a while ago, I can give you an example, the big thing was fade on shoes. We're like, okay, I think this is coming, we're going to do a fade. We're like, well, what's coming after the fade? So it's like, okay, it's going to be a print. So Lance will sit back and he'll do some concepts, like, okay, how about this shoe, how about that shoe? He may do like 20 designs, and we'll sit down and say, okay, we don't like that one. We may come up with 2. After we decide, you know what, we think these shoes are going to be pretty good, let's get them sampled. We'll give them to development, which is R&D, which I took you to of R&D. They'll do a SRF, which is like a request form for a sample. So they'll do a SRF, and we'll shoot it over to Taiwan, and you get a sample back. But in the meantime, we'll take that design, give it to our graphics guys. They'll scan it in, put it on the computer, do some color ups, so we can see how it's kind of working with color, and then, you know, we'll send that over to the factory as well so we can get those colors back. And so from Lance designing something to us getting the actual sample back can be as fast as 3 weeks or as long as 60 days, depending on how complex the shoe is.
Speed is an advantage?
Speed right now in athletic footwear is an advantage, because right now athletic footwear is kind of going to this fashion thing. It has to be cool, it has to look good, and it has to be on the trends. Like right now, girls are wearing rhinestones on everything. So you know what, we're going to do a shoe with a rhinestone crown. How fast can somebody else get that done?
What happens if you miss?
If you miss, you have a bad shoe, and that's not good. And in our industry, and being a small company trying to make a name in athletic footwear, where you have Nike, Adidas, and Reebok, there's no room for mistakes. So it's really tough for us, because you're just as good as your last shoe. And, you know, your buyers will tell you that. So it's hard to make a mistake. So we really try hard not to miss. And we've been pretty good right now. I mean, we've been in business for 3 years now, and I think we've had like maybe 2 misses. So that's not bad.
Nike may spend $20 million on an advertising campaign, but you don't have that kind of money. How do you compensate?
Just being creative. We do different things that don't cost as much money. We'll do marketing campaigns, street marketing. You know, they call it guerrilla marketing. I don't necessarily call it that. I call it target marketing, because in the South there may be an artist that's hot down there. Then we're going to do postcards with that artist down there. Or we use the slang term that they're using down there. So you just relate to every industry or to every, you know, territory, and we do it that way. You just have to be creative. Things we can't spend money on like they do. So you're not going to see a national campaign at the Super Bowl with a Dada footwear commercial. It's not happening. But you know, we'll do BT, and we'll do 15-second spots, or we'll do product placement, which is a big thing for us.
Lavetta, you're playing in the league with giants. At any point in time, you could be crushed. How close have you actually come to being stepped on by the big boys?
We'll never be crushed, but right now we're close. Because we're in a lawsuit right now over a new technology that we're launching, which we're super excited about. It's called Sonic Force on the hydraulics platform, which happens to be something that Nike feels is similar to what they're doing. It's not. Our part's been patented since 1994. It's mechanical cushion. Theirs is foam. It's totally different. This heel cup here has never been done before. This mold, it took like 12 different molds just to make this one part. So it's very complicated. And really only one place in Taiwan can really actually do it. And we're glad they think it's similar. You know, we think it's going to sell well in the store. But this is the closest I think I've been to saying, you know what, I'm going to the mattresses on this one. So I'm going with it, and we're going to ship our shoe, and it's going to sell. And you know what? Let's be competitive, Nike. Compete with us on even grounds, and we think this technology is going to put us there.
You're a new mother. That must represent a huge challenge. How are you balancing motherhood and being a businesswoman?
He's here. He's here with me all the time. I go back and forth all day. And then the buyers, if I'm on the phone, they hear him in the back. They're like, oh, how's Elle? You know, so everybody understands. And so it's fun because it's a little bit of a release because it's super stress here. It's like super stress with everything that's going on right now. So it's a good release, and it helps you put things back in perspective.